Hey, welcome back to another episode of the She's Making an Impact podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Ngom. I got an episode for you today. We are talking about, the title for today's episode is Embracing Divine Guidance, Investing $500,000 worth of company potential and trusting God's voice. So if you have been listening to the podcast for a while, we have, 400 or more episodes, and a lot of it is like how-to content, like 3 steps to XYZ, whatever that is. That is not what this episode is going to be like. This is going to be way more personal, more so like just grab a cup of coffee and let's have a chat. And I want to share with you just a lot of the things that have been happening in my world over this past year. It has been a wild year. When I'm like looking back at what has happened since January, it has been crazy. So I'm going to be sharing with you why I'm getting rid of an offer that essentially brings in like $500,000 in revenue per year. And the backstory around that and how I came to the conclusion that that's what we're going to be doing. So it's more so like story time today, but I'm going to share with you the lessons that I'm learning as I'm going through this entire experience, which again has been wild. All right. Grab your cup of coffee. I already had like 8 cups of coffee. I'm kidding. Not really, maybe 5. So I got my water. Gotta stay hydrated after all that. Okay, so let me start at the beginning of the year. So at the beginning of this year, I joined a mastermind called the Wellspring with Pete Vargas. And the Wellspring is a mastermind for Christian entrepreneurs who are making $1 million or more in their business. And I was so excited. I got to join this program and be in the room with like these incredible people. I'm talking like authors that, like back when I was in Beachbody, we would all be reading their books, and just like these really, the guy that invented the eye scan at Clear, like really cool people that I now have a relationship with. So I was really excited to be in that room. I was not expecting to have these wild encounters that I've never experienced. So backstory around this, I've been a Christian, like I grew up in the church, and I was baptized when I was 20. And up until January, I've been going to church, and I've never actually seen somebody get healed or seen like the prophetic or the gifts of the Spirit and people actually like walking in that and living in that. And when I went to that first Wellspring event, I saw that happen and I'm like, what? Like the gifts of the Spirit are for today. And it was crazy to see people literally being healed at that event. And what that did is it gave me this like hunger of, oh my gosh, I want more of this. I like, God, I want more of you, like more, Lord. I'm going to try not to cry today, but you just never know what's going to happen. So basically that was like my prayer. I'm like, I want more of this. And so what I did is I signed up for the Global Awakening School of, so I signed up for one of their classes. So I signed up for one of the classes. I attended one of their events. And at that event, let me tell you, my mind was like freaking blown. So at the event, that's where I saw like hundreds of people getting healed. Like a woman who she broke her finger 60 years ago, her knuckle started to regrow. And it was just like God has been like rocking my world. And it just like, again, created this like hunger and this desire to know him more and to go even deeper. And throughout this, like this has been kind of an evolution over the past, 6 months, created this conviction in me of like the music that I'm listening to, the movies that I'm watching, like everything that I've had in my life. I feel like I've just been pruned of God's like, nope, you're not listening to this anymore. You're not watching these kind of shows anymore. You're not doing like, nope. Anything that's going to pull you away from me, it's not going to happen. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like I've literally had dreams about this. Like as I'm praying, God, like give me dreams, give me visions. I've had those dreams and those visions, and it has been so crazy. but so cool at the same time. And around the same time, like as I attended the Wellspring and everything, they're like, you need to find a new church. So I found a new church. We've been going to that church. And it was, yeah, the whole thing has just been like, but in the best way possible. So I took the class of Global Awakening, and all of this is happening, this is all around the same time as like, all right, I'm trying to like go back in time with you on the timeline. So we are in France for our retreat. My brother almost gets killed in an accident. He's doing much better now. He's in therapy, doing rehab, but like all these things are happening at once. And then within my business, one of our departments within the business is experiencing conflict, which has never happened before. So it's like all these things are happening all at once. This is around the month of April. And as I'm like navigating the conflict, I'm praying to God around like, all right, how do I handle this? What does this look like? And what ultimately do you want from me in the business? I open up the Bible and I'm like, God, give me a word. And the the word he gave me literally opened up to the scripture, Proverbs 17:1, which in it says, better a dry crust with peace than a house full of feasting with strife. I was like, ha, that's funny. Thanks, God. And so as I'm like navigating the crisis, and God is like pruning me of all of these things, and I'm sitting in my prayer closet where like trying to figure out what does this look like. And God tells me, shut down, activate. And this has been like, if you've been a part of our world, this has been one of our programs for the past 5 years. One of our core programs that we enroll people to. It has produced millions of dollars of revenue. And we've had hundreds of students go through this program. And God's like, I'm not in this program, shut it down. And I'm like, all right. So I'm going to be obedient. I'm going to shut it down. And I basically announced to our team, we're shutting down this program. We're not going to enroll. Like we still have students in it that we're serving well until their contracts are over in January. However, we're not going to enroll new people into this program. So I'm like, all right, God, I'm going to be obedient. We're going to shut it down. What do you got in store after we shut this down? So I'm like, all right, God, what's coming after this? What's going to happen? And around this time is when I feel like I'm being called to go back to school. And so I'm like, I already applied to attend the Global School of Supernatural Ministry. And so I'm like, all right, God, how am I going to make the time for it? And it was like at that exact same time, he's like, shut down the program. And so I'm like, all right, we shut down the program. That means we're getting rid of 10 people on our team, a lot less people to manage, a lot less stress, a lot less headache. I'm like, all right, that'll open up the space for going back to school. And also, side note, after I made the decision to shut it down, God has also been calling me to homeschool our son when he goes into junior high, not this year, but the next year. So I'm like, great, if I get rid of this program specifically, it'll give me the space because I'm working around 20 hours a week right now. We get rid of this program. We have one core offer, and I'll talk about that we're enrolling people into. Then I only got to work 10 hours a week. And that is like my goal. How can I work 10 hours a week, go back to school, being able to homeschool my son, so on and so forth. Okay. So God says, shut activate down. I'm like, okay, what happens next? Like, what's the plan? And so I'm like praying through this, and this is kind of like going through my head of like, all right, God, what's the next step? And so about a week later, I hear the voice like, and he's like, affiliate sales. I'm like, affiliate sales, interesting. With affiliate sales, I'm not responsible for fulfillment. So that makes sense. And then it popped in my head again, my friend Christina, because she has a program that's similar to Activate, that's supporting entrepreneurs with like their beginning part of their business, and like getting set up over the course of a year. So I'm like, all right, that would be like a perfect fit. Partnering with Christina, that would give me more time and free up to be able to homeschool, be able to go back to school and do these things that God has really put on my heart. And so I sit down with Christina, we have a meeting, and in that meeting, like it made so much sense of like, and she like she made this like really generous offer too with the affiliate deal and everything like that. And so logically it made so much sense to go this route. But at the same time, I felt like I was getting physically sick as we were talking about it. Like my face turned red and I felt like a physical reaction, not in a good way. And so I went back and I was like, God, this sounds like it's supposed to be the perfect fit. Like, why why is this not going to happen? Like, why don't you want this to happen? And so I'm praying about it. I'm praying about it. The next morning, I'm still praying about it. I'm like, what's in the way? Like, why isn't this going to work? And I hear God say, not like an audible voice, but it's like an impression of, you're going to give it all away. Like, everything Christina gives you, you're going to give it all away. And that's when I had that like ultimate feeling of like peace. And I just start bawling because it was like, that was the answer that I needed. And boom, we're going to give it all away. And so I sent Christina a message. And I'm like, Christina, I just have to tell you like what my experience has been since yesterday, since we had our conversation, what happened this morning. And so I told her I had like the entire story I just told you. And she goes, Rachel, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe this. I had the same feeling during our meeting. I felt like it wasn't like, I was trying to figure out why it didn't feel in alignment or like what was wrong. But then I heard a voice saying that everything you give to Rachel, she's going to give it all away. And then I felt that peace. And I was just like, what? So crazy. So my husband and I, we have this vision of building a school in Senegal. When I was at the Wellspring event, I got to meet Bob Goff. He's a New York Times bestselling author. He runs this like ridiculously awesome nonprofit. They build schools all over the world. And we met with their team to see about building a school in Senegal. So I'm like, oh my gosh, we partnered with Christina. We have this affiliate deal. We give it all away to build a school in Senegal. And it was like all coming together. Whew. So that was kind of like that experience. And then as I've been like praying, I'm like, all right, what's next? Because again, I've been like pruned of like all the everything, like even the personal development books that I was reading, anything that did not point me to Jesus, I'm like, I literally donated all of it. So I'm like, but God, like, what's the message for my business? What am I here to do? And we launched this program in April in our France retreat called the Impact Partnership. And it's like all roads are now leading to this offer of me being like, this is all I'm doing basically. So the Impact Partnership is essentially our next level program for people that are already seeing success in their business, but as they're growing their business, they're missing out on time with their family. They're not able to grow it in a way that honors their priorities. And so that's what we're doing in that program. We met in France. We're going to meet in Senegal. We're meeting in Chicago. And it's like all roads are leading to this offer that is my legacy work of how I get to really contribute to the world and make that long lasting impact of helping entrepreneurs grow their business without sacrificing what matters most to them. Yeah. So the past 6, and by the way, if you want to learn more and actually have a conversation with me about that program, if you feel like you're an impact maker, you're driven, you have a business, but you don't have like the right systems in place to help you grow that business, and you're missing out on time with the kids or time with like whatever that is, just shoot me a DM on Instagram at She's Making an Impact, and we can chat and see if you'll be a good fit for that. But yeah, so that's the, now you're caught up to speed over the past 6 months. And when I say it's been like wild and crazy, it has been. But what I know for sure, like God has taken me in so many weird, awesome journeys. Like the first time I ever heard God tell me like very clearly direction on what to do, it was to move to Africa. Like, you're going to go to Africa. And it was one of those things of, I don't know anyone on the continent. I have no idea how you're going to make this work. But ultimately, like when you're obedient, and when in my past, like when I've been obedient and I'm like, I have no idea what's coming of this, but I'm going to say yes, that's when everything falls into place. Like if I didn't say yes to God then, I wouldn't have met my husband. Like I wouldn't have my family that I have now, and everything just kind of falls into place. Whew. All right. So that is the story of how we're getting rid of that like core offer, the evolution of the business, how everything's kind of been falling into place, and kind of what's next. I'm really excited. I like, as I'm like working with my team, I'm like, I don't really know like 100% certain what's coming next, but I know that God has awesome plans for us, and it's always going to be good. So we're just going to be obedient and follow. So that's the story. If you like this episode and you want more content like this, where it's just story time, as I have them, just let me know. And I always want to create stuff that's going to serve you and support you and help you grow. And I need a shower because I went for this epic bike ride this morning, and my husband's like, "Oh, you stink. Good thing you can't smell me through the computer." So that is the plan. And then pick up my son. And I hope you have a great day. It's gonna be beautiful here, and we'll talk soon. Bye.